record. Cool, so we're recording. Right, so if you come to any comfortable seated position to get started, and just find a little bit of length through the spine. Take a moment to bring the shoulders up to the ears, roll them back and down. Maybe just doing this a couple of times, lifting up, rolling, giving that little chest a bit of open space. And then bunch them up, give them a big squeeze. Inhale, squeeze the face, exhale, let it all go. And then just take a moment to keep the eyes closed, finding just those first few moments on your mat or in your hallway or in any space that you've come to practice today. And with the eyes closed, just noticing the space around you. So remembering what space you have around you, that space you've just closed your eyes to. And maybe there's noises or distractions in the background. Or maybe there's silence and you have to try to extend your hearing a little bit further to find noise or sound. But see if you can focus your hearing on some sounds in the distance. Maybe you have birds tweeting outside. Maybe there's some hum of background noise in the house you're in. Just taking your awareness far away. And then see if you can draw that awareness of listening to closer to you. And maybe that's simply my voice, the loudest noise closer to you. And if you are lucky enough to be in a quiet environment, just start to tune into the sound of your breath. Maybe the breath is gentle at the moment, maybe there is no sound. Maybe you can start to find a gentle hissing sound at the back of the throat, finding that Ujjayi breath. As you begin to inhale, finding almost that snoring sensation, that oceanic hissing sound at the back of the throat. Filling up the belly, and as you exhale, pass that breath through the throat again. The mouth is closed. Maybe it feels like a cat purring sensation. Whatever resonates with you, finding that vibration at the back of the throat. And as you stay focused on this Ujjayi breath, I'm just going to read to you the card I picked for today, for today's practice. It's about loosening your grip, coping mechanisms, density, addiction, letting God in. And God doesn't necessarily mean God in the eyes of religion and how we may have been taught. And if you're not akin to the word God, or you don't particularly like the use of it, just thinking of it as love, letting love in. We are cyclic beings, and Mother Earth teaches us how to be human every day with the coming and going of the tides and the seasons. If you're clinging to anything, you're resisting the natural flow of who you are. The things we cling to are so often those we need to let go of the most. The food, the substances, the relationship, the job, the people pleasing. The things we cling to often cover up our most vulnerable space, the part we're most afraid to leave empty, the part we guard and don't let grace into. but by keeping that space covered with something that doesn't serve us, or clinging to it for fear of it not staying of its own accord, we prevent ourselves from receiving the things that will. A Course in Miracles tells us, whatever we leave empty, grace will fill. And the Buddha said, you can only lose what you cling to. Indeed, both are true. If this card appears, you're being called to find the courage to loosen your grip and give up control, to release your coping mechanisms and leave space for grace and God or love to enter, to surrender all that feels dense to the divine. Loosening your grip doesn't mean that what you're clinging to will go away. It may, or it might stay, but you can be sure that what is for you will find you, and you'll breathe easier knowing that you've shifted from relying on your own strength to surrendering to the grace of life. What are you clinging to for fear of nothing coming to take its place? I think there's some lovely words in there that feel quite apt at these times. So just thinking about perhaps something that maybe you can loosen your grip on. We often do meditations on letting go, and today's isn't going to be about actually letting go, but loosening our grip, allowing love in. So whatever we leave empty, grace will fill. So can we make some space? Can we loosen that grip to allow for maybe some other things to come to us? So continuing to focus on the breath. We're going to use a mantra meditation today. So our mantra is Om Namo Narayani. So I surrender to the divine. So in surrendering, maybe we can loosen that grip. I'll repeat the mantra, and if you'd like to in your own space, say it aloud with me, of course join in, and if you prefer to just receive it, or maybe just repeating it in your head, of course you can. The ancient Sanskrit words Om Namo Narayani, loosely translated to I surrender to the divine. Om Namo Narayani. 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 And just allowing yourself to focus on the Sanskrit words, or perhaps I surrender to the divine. If you have been chanting along, you may feel the vibration from saying the words aloud. Everything is energy, everything has a vibration. And words have their own vibration. If we say a bad word or a word with a perhaps negative meaning, these are low vibrational rates. If we use love and joy and happiness and positive words, their vibration rates are higher. There's a beautiful experiment where they put water on the word love and water on the word fear, war and hate. And the crystals, once examined under ice cubes, water, once examined under the microscope, make the most beautiful patterns with love and joy, and all jagged and mishapped with the lower vibrational words. So our body is made up of lots of little crystals, if we can imagine. So giving them those high vibrational words, high vibrational feelings. Om Namo Narayani. And as we work throughout the practice in a while, if you feel you can focus on that as a mantra, bringing it in whenever you would like. So when you're ready, just slowly starting to maybe blink open the eyes. Take a bigger, deeper breath in, filling up the belly, and exhale with a big sigh, letting go. Inhaling, filling up deeply, big sigh, letting go. We're going to do a little cleansing breath. So taking a normal inhale, filling up the belly, big inhale in through the nose, filling up that belly deeply. On the exhale, short, sharp exhales through the mouth, as if we're blowing out lots of candles. So force behind each exhale, but as many as we possibly can until there's nothing left to exhale. So fully cleansing. So it'll sound like so. So inhaling, exhaling, and keep going until there is nothing left to fully exhale, and then filling back up again. If you'd like to use the body, we inhale, we sit up tall, and as we exhale, we will fold and round until we're fully exhaled, and then we can inhale, sitting up tall again, exhale, round through the spine as we do those short, sharp exhales. So 5 or so rounds in your own time. Maybe you've done 2 or 3 already. Inhaling, exhaling. So by letting go, cleansing, exhaling, trying to make that space. And then just coming back to a normal belly breath after your final cleansing breath there. So in through the nose, filling up the belly. Exhaling, allowing belly to drop back towards spine. Just finding 2 or 3 rounds of your belly breath, trying to increase the belly breath with each inhale. And allow the belly to empty a little bit more on each exhale. And we're going to take 3 rounds of our normal belly breath, but with our exhale, we're going to imagine we're floating a Malteser or balloon. I know we're not lying down, but we could do, and if you choose to lie down, that's fine. But just imagine we're floating a Malteser or balloon. So this exhale will be long and sustained, but with that force behind it this time. So inhaling, filling up, exhaling. So through pursed lips, allowing that exhale to be a little bit longer, a little bit deeper, if you like, a little bit more force behind it. So 3 or 4 rounds in your own time there. So long, sustained exhaling, still with that aim to cleanse and clear, pushing out that stale air at the bottom of our lungs. And whenever you finish an exhale next, just coming back to that normal belly breath, in through the nose, out through the mouth. Allowing that breath to come back to any rhythm of belly breath. And we're going to take one more breath with a strong focus on the exhale. A little bit more energizing, a little bit more awakening, a little bit more strengthening. So our lion's breath. So we can do this seated. You can also do this on all fours. So if you want to practice this another time when the camera's not on you, perhaps you can do this on all fours like a proper lion. Feel free to do it now. Otherwise, the breath will go like so. So inhaling deeply as normal. Exhale, sticking the tongue out big, letting it all out. So as long as no one can hear you around you, just give it a go. If you don't feel like it, maybe your little roar is a bit like Simba, a bit of a and that's okay too. I watched Lion King for the first time the other day. I have never seen it. I'm 37. I've never seen Lion King. I watched both of them in the week. I watched the old one and the new one. It was amazing. So 3 or 4 rounds of lion breath, letting go, sticking the tongue out, being strong, big, proud lions. One more time. Letting it go, not minding what sound comes out of your mouth. Maddie's looking at me like, well, what did you just do? So coming back to normal belly breath after those couple of rounds and noticing how that makes you feel. So just closing the eyes for a minute. Tuning in to notice how that makes you feel. Roaring, letting go, making some space. And then when you're ready, just gently blinking open the eyes. We'll start with a little bit of seated cat-cow. So just rounding through the spine, dropping the chin to the chest, start to round and exhale. Inhaling, start to lift and lengthen, opening through the collarbones. Exhale, rounding, dropping shoulders, dropping chin. Inhale, opening, and start to find that movement that follows your breath. So breath begins, exhale, round, inhale, then lift, then start to open. So the movement becomes a meditation because we're following our breath. Two more rounds. Exhale. And when you're ready, just coming back to center. And then we're going to slide the ribs to one side, so keeping both sit bones grounded and slide them across to the other. So just finding that space. And if you want to move slowly or quickly here, your choice. Maybe you choose to use the hands to push into the knees to find extra length and space as we wriggle and slide. And then combining both movements to circle ribs around hips. So we begin our little seated belly dance, circling around those sit bones, warming up the spine, and then we'll reverse those circles back in the opposite direction. Maybe the head joins in that figure of 8 through the whole spine, neck, allowing us to utilize every part of the spine. And coming back to center, placing one hand down, elbow or forearm, other arm lifts up and over, finding a little bit of length and opening through that side body. Just taking a breath here. Inhaling, lifting, and exhaling, tipping over to the other side. Softening that arm to bend as we lower towards the floor with the bent elbow. Inhaling to lift, taking a little twist, lift through the crown of the head, hands to the opposite knee, turning, maybe looking behind. Inhale back to center, exhale, twisting to the other side. Inhaling, coming back to center, so rolling over those knees, coming onto all fours, spreading fingers nice and wide. Just start to ground through the underside of the knuckles and just start to take some circling movements around the wrists, the hands, shoulders. And then reversing those circles. forwards, backwards, making sure fingers are spread nice and wide. Opening up wrists and forearms, hands, and then bringing fingertips to the edges of the mats and rocking side to side. Just warming up all of those lovely tiny little joints in the hands and the wrists. And then taking the fingertips back towards the knees, maybe coming onto the tips of the toes, maybe holding that as a stretch, or it might feel nice to rock here. So just feeling into this and going where your body needs. As with the whole practice, taking any options you want to and coming to rest whenever you need. And then just take a moment to bring fingertips inwards, palms upwards, and you can stay on the knees a little bit here, trying to keep arms fairly straight, not bending, but maybe this is a rock, maybe this is just a hold and hovering over one side, then the other. It can be quite intense, so make sure the weight is through the knees. And then give them a little shake out. So feet untucked, hips over the knees. Start to walk the hands forwards to the front of the mat. And we're going to sink the chest down, finding puppy dog or Anahanasana, the melting heart posture. So the chin might come to the floor, the forehead might come down, maybe even taking one cheek to the floor if that feels better for you. We're just going to stay for one round of breath. So finding that belly breath in through the nose, out through the mouth. Just allowing the body to melt into that floor. Allowing chest and shoulders to open. Start to look up towards those hands, roll the weight forward, and we're going to drop the hips down towards the floor and roll the body down, squeezing elbows down and back, shoulders away from the ears. So we'll reverse that, lifting through the chest, lifting shoulders back, give a little push, lifting the hips and coming back to child's pose. So we're just going to roll through here. So opening upper back as we roll forwards, and then roll through the hips and spiral the body down. So that we get this lovely wave through the spine, lift through the chest, lift the hips, tummy pulls in, pushing back to almost child's pose. I find that to get that nice stretch and length for me, my body needs to be not quite in child's pose. Maybe your body allows you to have your bottom all the way back to the heels when we get to this end. So just moving in rhythm with your breath. Inhale, and as we get to lower with the elbows, we're exhaling to lower. Inhale, start the movement. Exhale to push, and round to push back. Inhale to start to roll through the spine. Exhaling as we begin dropping the hips, squeezing elbows in slowly. Inhale to lift chest, and then rolling back. Just enjoying this, maybe making a few little wriggles as we move. You might find you want to sort of snake the body. You might want to stay in any part of this to feel an extra little stretch and open. And next time you come back to child's pose, just walk your knees together. Walk your hands forwards, drop your forehead down, maybe bring those hands round, grabbing hold of the feet, dropping shoulders. And taking a breath in through the nose, out through the mouth. Starting to walk those hands forwards if they're not already there. And lifting up, coming through that all fours position, tuck the toes under, start to walk the hips up and back, finding our down dog. So when we get there, just walking through one heel then the other, taking a moment to wake up the legs. We're not going to stay in this down dog, we're just going to walk through heels, then start to walk feet to hands, coming to the front of your mat, just removing some slipper fluff, and coming to a little dangling pose. So feet can be hip distance, trying to fold over those legs, coming to grab opposite elbow and taking a moment to really rock side to side or forwards, backwards, whatever feels right here, just allowing gravity to lengthen gently, a soft bend in the knees before we start to get moving, waking up those legs. So hanging heavy for a moment with one breath of stillness in through the nose, filling up, exhaling, maybe with a big sigh to let go. Keeping hold of those elbows, arms over the head. Inhale, lift and lead with the head and the arms. Coming up to stand, you'll be facing the front of your mat. Take one elbow up and over, finding a little side bend when we get there. And
Enjoying that lovely stretch down the side of the body. Grab hold of the other elbow, lift it up and over. Vanasana, banana pose in standing. Inhale, come back to center and release the arms. So facing the front of the mat, moving through some sun salutations. Spread the toes, maybe lift them, pop them down a few times. Finding lots of space between each toe. Big toenails touching, little gap between the heels. Little soft bend in the knees, tuck the tailbone under, shoulders down the back, finding that lovely strong mountain pose. Inhale to reach the arms up. Exhaling, diving forwards into your fold. Inhale, fingertips or shins, so that flat back. Exhale to fold. So step back for that first one into our plank, dropping knees if you need, squeeze elbows into lower down. Roll shoulders, baby cobra or up dog, lifting shins. Exhale, pushing hips high and back into down dog. So taking a moment once we hit this down dog. Finding that belly breath, spreading the shoulder blades, lifting the arches of the feet, lift the hips up, then lengthen the heels down. In through the nose, out through the mouth, maybe a little nod of the head, yes or no. One more round of breath. Inhale, looking between the hands, bend the knees, step or jump the feet to the hands, come to that halfway lift. Exhale as you fold. Sweep the arms wide and up. Exhaling the hands back down. So we'll go again. Inhale, lift. Exhaling, diving forwards, forward fold. Inhale, fingertips or shins for that flat back. Exhaling, fold. Step or jump. If you jump, land in your chaturanga, elbows at 90, or exhale to lower. Baby cobra or up dog, open through that chest. Beautiful work. Exhale, hips high and back into down dog. So just taking a moment in your down dog, finding some breath. We're going to do a little bit of flow from here tonight. So if you need to, just walking through the heels one at a time, again, just to find a little bit of extra length through each heel. And then lifting up onto both toes, rolling onto the outside edge of the right foot and the inside of the left. Heels and feet might come to the floor, they might not, but just finding that side stretch on that left hand side of the body. You might want to hold, or maybe you prefer to wriggle side to side. So we pivot on the feet, finding that side stretch to the other side. Maybe you continue the movement like a wave side to side. Maybe you hold each side for a few breaths. So exploring here some nice little side body openers. Maybe you feel the tightness under the armpit. Maybe you feel it along the rib cage. Maybe you feel it along the side of the hip. Just depends where your body is tight. And then coming back to center, we're going to start to crouch through the knees and spring forwards with that right leg. So give it a bit of help to land it in between the hands if you need. Drop the back knee, untuck the toes. Inhale, start to lift. Hands up towards ceiling, coming into that crescent lunge. So you can make this wider if it feels good. Shuffle that front leg forwards, or you can come more to 90 degrees, or somewhere in between. Shoulders are down and back. Start to open those arms behind, maybe start to interlace fingers, opening through chest. Taking a breath here, a little baby back bend if it feels nice. If you want the challenge, tuck the toes under at the back, start to push and lengthen in to find that lunge. Great way. So we can come to a little bit of humble warrior. A little bit long here, my mat starts to lengthen itself as well. We can start to fold forwards over that front leg. Lifting arms or keeping them down, finding our humble warrior. Great work. One more breath here. Inhale, lift up. Lift the back leg if it's not already lifted, coming up for that high lunge. Place the hands back down to frame the front foot, lift the front foot behind. Squeeze elbows into lower, dropping knees if you need to. Baby cobra or up dog, opening through chest. Exhale, pushing back into down dog. Then lifting up into toes. Maybe just take a moment to lift and lower through the toes here in our down dog. Finding that breath. reconnecting if you've lost it. Remembering, I surrender to the divine. So bending both knees, pushing the floor away and springing forwards with that left leg, bringing it between the hands. So dropping the back knee, untucking the toes. Inhale, come to low lunge. This time, elbows nice and wide, coming into that 90-degree cactus arms. Baby back bend if you want to. And think about using the hips to bend from. So we start the back bend low. We're not just folding through the back. So it comes from pushing the hips forwards, extending the spine from that strong position. Chest opening, looking up if it feels good. Take those hands behind, interlace. So coming up onto the toes if you want the challenge. Extending to look up and then coming into our humble warrior. Left elbow, left shoulder comes towards left knee. Crown extending away, back leg long and lengthened. Or the knee can be to the floor, of course. Inhale, start to come back up. Lifting up, framing that front foot with the hands, lifting the left foot back to plank. Drop knees if you need to, squeeze elbows to lower, roll shoulders up and back, lifting chest. And remember, we can push back before lifting into down dog or lift straight up into our down dog. So lengthening into the left heel, start to extend the right heel up, finding three-legged dog. Stacking the hips in line, knee lifts, coming into split dog. Finding a breath. One more round of breath here. Looking between the hands, lift onto the left toes, find some space. Draw the right knee into underneath the nose, hover. You can drop the back knee if you need to here, coming up to a forward. And then send it back, opening into split dog. We're going to do that again. So draw that right knee in and under, hover. One more time, send it back. Last time, draw it in, hover, hold space. Push the floor away, make space, see if you can touch your nose with your knee, and then give it help and land it in front. Amazing, good work. If you need to, drop that back knee. Otherwise, keeping back knee extended, inhale, lift, or a high lunge again. This time, bringing hands to heart center. We're going to take left elbow to right knee. And start to twist towards. So, of course, dropping back knee here if you need to. We're just working on our twist or our strength and balance too. Maybe those fingertips start to rotate inwards towards the heart center. We can look under that top arm, elbow. Maybe you want to start to lengthen right arm behind, looking to right hand. Awesome work. Breathing, finding belly breath. Squeeze and push that back knee away if the leg is straight still. Maybe you start to lift chest. Coming to T-shaped arms, keeping that twist, so still facing towards our right leg. Beautiful work. And then wiggle those hands over to frame that front foot, lift the right leg behind. So dropping knees if we need to, squeeze elbows through, chaturanga, baby cobra or up dog. Exhale, push hips high and back into down dog. Flip round so I can still face you. So start to extend through the left heel, lifting right leg, three-legged dog for a moment, keeping those toes down, finding the breath. Then start to open out through the hips, stacking the hip and knee, split dog. Beautiful. So hovering that knee, remember we can drop the right knee down to all fours if we need. Hover left knee to nose. Weight comes over wrists. Sweep the knee back up, finding split dog. Exhale, bringing it in again, hover. Inhale, send it back. Final time, see if you can pause, see if you can bring nose to knee, make that space, then land left foot in front. Awesome, so dropping back knee if you need to. Lift the high lunge, finding high lunge for that one round of breath. Drawing hands into center, taking right elbow to right knee. Sounds getting warm now, especially not already. Whew, number one, extend that left knee back or drop the left knee down if you need to. So turning the palms of the hands or the fingertips in towards the heart center, looking underneath the elbow, or maybe starting to extend the arms, extending the left hand out behind. Remembering to push, so if your back knee starts to drop, push the back of the back knee towards the ceiling, you know what I mean. Breathing, maybe taking the challenge to lift the chest, keeping the twist. Arms rotated, arms in that T shape. One more breath and wiggle those hands to frame that front foot. Lift the left leg behind. Drop the knees if you need to. Vinyasa, so squeeze elbows through chaturanga. Baby cobra or up dog. Exhale, hips high and back into down dog. Finding a breath here. Hanging out in our down dog. So remembering strong shoulders, separating each shoulder blade, and push those shoulders away from the ears. Little nod, yes or no in the head. Looking between the hands, bend the knees, step or jump the feet to the hands, come to that halfway, lift that flat back position, extend through the crown. Exhaling, folding forwards. And we're going to draw the hands around the backs of the calves, trying to place forearms along the backs of the legs. And maybe you're a bit higher here, but we're drawing the hands down the backs of the legs. Feet might be together, big toes touching, little gap between the heels, or maybe you come to feet underneath hips. Whatever feels right for you here. And from that flat back position, we'll start to fold and draw the chin to the shins. Crown of the head lengthening towards the floor. A little different variation on a fold. Obviously very similar to any of our forward folds, where we grab big toes or place hands underneath the feet, but just a different variation. So finding a balance here, especially if you've kept your feet close together. Maybe closing the eyes. Maybe just nodding head yes or no. Great, time to take a big cleansing breath. Inhale, filling up, exhale with a big sigh. Let it all go. Untucking fingers and toes. Fingers and toes, fingers and arms. So I think, oh my gosh, you know where I mean. Lifting up, long spines, coming to that flat back. Hands on the hips, coming all the way to stand. And just give those legs a little release. So I think any moment we're going to be clapping for the NHS. So we'll come to some standing balance to clap whilst we balance. So today's balance, we're going to come to tree pose. So just start to find, we're going to transition from our balance actually. So maybe coming to the front of your mat if you'd like to. I'll come so you can see me. You can't really see my head, but that's okay. So grounding into the right foot, start to turn the left leg wide. So this might be tree, it might be just underneath. And see if you can get it as high as you can without taking that leg there. So see if the muscles can do the work. So sliding it underneath the knee or seeing if those muscles can bring the foot above the knee. Then if you need to adjust, adjusting a little bit. So coming wherever you want to for your tree pose. Pushing heel into thigh, thigh back into heel. Hands might be wide, hands might come to heart center. Maybe they start to lift above. Maybe we start to lift that eye gaze up with our hands, or we can keep the eye gaze forwards. So squeezing to find that knee, that left knee pushing wide. And holding our eye gaze somewhere to keep us focused. From here, we're going to come to warrior three. I'm just going to turn around, so stay as you are for a moment. So as we start to bring our hands back through heart center, we're going to start to release that leg. So again, maybe drawing the knee in front, but releasing the foot away from the opposite thigh. Then we're going to start to drop the chest and extend the heel out behind. So squeezing with the back of the leg, the left heel is lifting high, squeezing through the glutes. We're trying to find that straight line between the crown of the head and the back of the heel. So lifting through the glutes, keep breathing, all 5 toes pointing downwards. Awesome work, and release. And give that standing leg a little bit of a wriggle. The pots and pans are started. If you do want to disappear and go to your windows, you can. Otherwise, I will clap in tree on the other side. So going to tree, turning that right leg out. We can stay here, we can draw it up. Seeing if we can use the muscles to get it above the knee. And then if we need to adjust a little bit, we can. So taking Our tree pose is our time to clap for the NHS. So clapping for all those people that are doing all that hard work. I've woken Mally up. I'm going to clap quietly. Doesn't mean I don't mean it. So sending that good feeling of balance, love, energy, joy, release, surrender, everything we've worked on today. Balancing and clapping, not so easy. So maybe even releasing the palms and sending that love forwards from your hands. Don't know if you can hear my neighbours in the background. I've got some tin pans and all sorts going on. Maddie's heard them. Maddie's going to go bark for the NHS. There she goes. It's okay. It's the NHS barking. So bringing those hands back to heart center. So coming through this into our warrior three. So releasing, bringing the knee forwards. If you need to tap down, tap down. See if you can start to drop the chest, keeping shoulders away from ears. The wall is in my way. So start to lift that back heel, squeeze through the heel to lift, finding that nice long straight line. Ooh, clapping when you're there, still clapping, the clapping still going. Sending that love, so focusing your thoughts on others. Distracting from our perhaps slightly painful left leg and release. And give that ankle foot a little release. Inhaling, reaching, gathering all that lovely energy up, sending it out towards the NHS. Everybody's still working, all the supermarket workers. Everybody else that's still going to work, Peter, everyone else. Exhaling, diving forwards into your forward fold. Kizzy, I know you'll watch this. Kizzy's still working hard. Inhale, coming to that halfway lift, fingertips or shins. Exhaling to fold. So stepping or jumping back again through chaturanga, bending elbows to lower on the exhale. Inhale, lifting and opening. Exhaling, this time pushing back through child's pose. So walk those hands back, knees can be close, or bring the knees wide, toes in. So we find that wide-legged child's pose this time. Walking the hands down, maybe the chest drops, chin drops, or forehead to the floor, depending on what feels best. And when you get there, just slowing the breath back down. In through the nose, out through the mouth. And whilst we're here, we'll have a little go in our froggy pose. So if you need to just change your mat to support underneath the knees, you can. So we can stay with the feet close, knees wide, and this might be enough for us today to open the insides of the thighs. And we can come down, we can make a little pile with our fists and pop our forehead down. Or we start to bring the hips forwards in line with our knees and our heels in line with our knees also, so that we get that extra little length and opening through our hips. So just dropping hips backwards a little bit. If you shuffle forwards, you won't feel the stretch so well. So bring the hips in line with knees. And it might be if you've got a pillow close or something to prop under your chest, you can. Or you can stack those fists for the forehead or lie that chest down. So whichever position you end up in, just taking a few rounds of breath. In through the nose, out through the mouth, surrendering into this lovely squash frog position. It's not always comfortable to surrender and let go, but sometimes it's necessary. So allowing this to be our practice. This is why yoga is called practice. We're practicing on our mats, and hopefully we can take that into our lives. Slowly, no elegant way to do this. Maybe coming back, bringing your hands under shoulders and pushing with that strength. Or you can roll yourself forwards, but bring your toes close and wriggle knees back together. We haven't held for too long, so hopefully you're not stuck there. So coming on to all fours. If you want to practice a little bit of bunny hopping, you can. Basically, we want to get to a seated position. So if you just want to sit down and roll over, you can. Otherwise, maybe you want to take a few little bunny hops, little hovers, or little jumps, or jumps through to our hands to a seated position. So coming to your seated position any which way you like. So ground through the sit bones so that you get the length in the legs out in front. Draw those feet back towards you, squeeze to lift the heels away. Lift up towards the ceiling through the crown of the head, shoulders down and back. And just taking a moment to close the eyes here, really using all those core muscles to lift you as tall as you can. And just noticing the backs of the legs, sit bones. And noticing how we can send our energy down, grounding us into Mother Earth. Connecting us, giving us strength. Inhale, reach the arms up, blinking the eyes open. Exhaling, diving over those legs, folding at the hips, coming into our forward fold. So reaching the outsides of the feet, or maybe feel you can reach over the tops of the toes. And you can bend your knees as much as you need to do that, and then shimmy those heels away if that's not accessible just yet. So finding length through the spine, keeping that lower back nice and flat so that we're not rounding through the spine. So keeping that chin lifted perhaps a little bit till you stay there. With each exhale, maybe you sink that little bit lower. In through the nose, out through the mouth. One more round of breath. Inhale, start to walk your hands back up. If the legs are a little shimmy, bring that right knee in and drop the right knee to the side. It's up to just remove any fleshy parts and ground through both sit bones. Inhale, lift through the chest, turn to the long leg, the left leg, folding forwards, reaching around the outside of the foot or outside of the leg. Looking to our big toe. Our drishti here is our big toe. In through the nose, out through the mouth. Finding a few deep rounds of breath there. Trying to still actively use the muscles to pull the toes back, even though the hand is there to support the foot perhaps. Squeezing the front of the thigh to gap bridge any gap under the knee. One more breath, inhaling, lift. I'm going to take a little twist. The left hand comes to your right knee. Start to turn. A little baby twist. And then come back to center. So we're going to stay on the right side. Lift and bring the perineum, so the part between your bottom and your other bits, come onto that heel. And then we can reach forwards over that left leg, folding over. Now, if that becomes really uncomfortable for feet, ankles, or any other parts, come back to the first variation. So drawing chin towards shin still, finding that deep, deep belly breath. In through the nose, out through the mouth. One more round of breath. On the inhale, start to walk yourself back up. Give yourself a little lift off of that foot and give that ankle a little circle and release the knee, release if you need. So bring the left leg in front. See if we can lift and swap so that the right leg is out, left heel or foot to the inside of the thigh. Just ground through those sit bones. Pull the right toes back, lift through the crown of the head, turn towards our right leg, folding forwards. Drawing yourself around the outside of the leg or the foot. So looking to our big toes, spine staying long. Finding those deep, deep belly breaths. Squeezing the front of the thigh, trying to bridge that gap underneath the knee. In through the nose, out through the mouth. One more round of breath, sinking on each exhale. On the inhale, start to walk yourself back up. Take that little counter twist, so right hand on left knee this time, little turn, little twist. Just to neutralize spine, coming back to center this time, lifting up, sitting onto the left heel, folding over the right leg into our Janu Sirsasana B variation. Trying to draw chin to shin, elbows might draw wide, looking to our big toe. And just notice the difference in the stretch once we're sitting on the heel. And again, taking the first variation if this becomes too much or is just not accessible for you right now. And then start to push to lift off that heel and come back to seated. Just release that ankle if you need to. So just come to that cross-legged position. We'll swap over again. Left leg comes out, right leg comes in. And if you don't like to bring that leg round, if the knee isn't comfortable here, just taking Janu Sirsasana again. And this time, if you'd like to take the third variation, if you want to try and turn the foot, you can, or alternative, we can start to rock that knee in here. Otherwise, we're going to come into our ridiculously long Sanskrit name, but half saddle pose. So start to bring right leg round, remove the calf muscle, keep the foot close to the heel close to the bottom, or give it some space if you need, and space between the knees if you need, or close. And just resit those sit bones down, just making sure this knee is comfortable. Left toes pulling towards you, lift to find space, folding forwards over our left leg, finding that forward fold, chin drawing towards the shin. So if this isn't comfortable for knee, maybe you bring the knee wider, maybe you come more to kind of hurdling position, bending the front knee as well, or taking the other variations, or just simply coming back to Janu A version. Finding the breath, Triangmukha Eka Padma Paschimottanasana, or half saddle pose. We're going to come to a different variation, so you can stay folded forwards if you're enjoying the stretch on the left, or sit yourself up and start to walk yourself back. So opening the front of our right leg now, and maybe our hands just come behind and we use that to open the chest and stay. Maybe we start to draw down onto elbows. Maybe you can lie all the way flat, but going with your body and listening as you go. So for me today, this is enough. But I have quite tight tops of my quads, so I can really feel it in there. Maybe you don't, and you can go that bit further and flatten down. Maybe you've got a cushion to hand or a pillow. You can pop that under your back or bolster if you do want to lie back. So maybe keeping chin tucked to chest. Don't forget this right leg pulling left leg pulling left toes back towards you, working that left leg still, but still surrendering, letting go for the right side. But if you're folded back, bring chin to chest, use the hands to draw yourself back up to center. Roll away from that bent leg very carefully and give it a bit of help back round. Give the knee a rub, ankle a little circle, and roll to release. So we're going to come to the other side. So left leg comes in front, lift and swap. Going straight into Triangmukha Eka Padma Paschimottanasana if you wish, or coming back to a different variation of our Janu. So remembering to sit both sit bones back down, right toes pulling back, heel and bottom, a bit of space if you need, knees touching or not. Lift your crown of the head, turn over that right leg, folding and squeeze the front of the thigh, keep that heel trying to lift away naturally. And just finding your fold, surrendering when we get there. And how do we surrender? We use those exhales, letting go. In through the nose, filling up, exhaling. Just melting over that front leg, trying to keep the weight fairly even through those sit bones. One more round of breath here. And then start to walk yourself back up, maybe staying folded if that feels better, or if we can, coming back, maybe we just support ourselves here, maybe we go a little bit lower, and this side might be completely different to the other side. So moving carefully, listening to any signals the body is giving you here. As with any posture, but obviously some can be more intense than others, and we have to protect the knee on this one in particular. So right toes pulling back towards you, strong Dandasana right leg. Opening of that left front of the hip leg, maybe even the body, depending on how far back we are. You can drop the head back, opening the throat if it feels good. And again, chin to chest. If we're folded backwards, start to work your way up using the hands to bring yourself up. Give that leg a little release carefully, help it round your knee, a little rub, ankle, a little circle, and release. So just bring your right leg in front, and we're going to come to easy cross position. So it might be that you end up kind of here. It might be that you can bring those shins flat, and you can just bring ankles stacked in front of one another. Inhale, find a bit of length through the spine. Find a nice tall seat. You can stay and take 5 breaths, and we can use our mudra with our finger and thumb touching. Or we can fold forward, so keeping both sit bones grounded as we fold forwards, walking the hands forwards. We might come to rest our forehead on our stacked fists, or maybe just the forearms rest, or we can come to flat and find head to floor. Still pushing backwards to keep those sit bones down. So just feeling that stretch in the right hip if the right foot is in front. But learning to just drop back into our breath here. Really, although we're getting the stretch, we're finding the breath. In through the nose, out through the mouth. Inhaling, starting to walk those hands back up. And give those legs a little swap over. Inhaling, finding some length, exhaling, keeping those hips down, sit bones down, walking down, maybe coming halfway, maybe we prop to find a little rest for our forward. We can even prop our elbows down, propping our chin into our hands like we're watching TV, or coming that bit lower. So finding the belly breath. Filling up, inhale, exhale, letting go. And then inhale, start to walk yourself back up. We're going to come to a couple of yin postures. If you do happen to have a bolster for under your back to open your chest, or a block, and if you don't have a block, if you have a book to hand or something like that, you can bring it underneath. If you don't, it doesn't matter. I'll give you options if you don't. So if you do have a block or a bolster, we're going to come to bridge pose supported for our first yin posture. So it's still a little bit, not really yang, but it is quite an intense posture. So options are, and if you find an option and take it, then obviously get yourself comfortable and stay there. So we can come to bridge posture first by lying down and bringing our heels in close, lifting shoulders down and back and arms down to support. As we lift the hips, we can come onto our toes and place a book, a block, maybe a big cushion folded under the hip bones, and then we can allow those hips to open, flop onto the block. This is only a yin posture if we're having support. If we're working here to squeeze to hold for 3 minutes, then this is not going to be very yin. So if that isn't an option for you today, your option is to take waterfall pose. So hands can just rest under the hip bones and lift the feet up. Or alternatively, you can take plow pose if that's in your practice, and if shoulder stands are accessible to you, making sure chin is tucked to chest, legs can fold over. Maybe you have a pillow or something to rest feet on, and knees can be bent here. So different options and different, we'll get different benefits. Obviously, we are fully flexing the spine if we come to our plow, or we're extending the spine if we're in a version of bridge. Knowing that this bridge can be as high as you want it to be, but the idea is we want support. So we want to be able to surrender and let go in whichever variation we've taken. So finding support from some sort of book, some block, bolster, anything you have to hand, a pillow, cushion, whatever is to hand in your home. And slowing down, breathing deeply into the belly. And if you are folded in your plow pose, you may find that a little bit harder as things are a little bit more tucked together. If you're in waterfall pose or bridge, but filling up that belly deeply and exhaling fully. Finding those beautiful deep breaths, slowing it all down. Maybe you have a little soft sigh on those exhales, remembering our surrendering, our letting go. And perhaps you'd like to focus the mind on the mantra, I surrender to the divine. Om Namo Narayani. Om Namo Narayani. Om Namo Narayani. We're going to stay for just one more minute here. I'm just going to release so I can read something to you.
So from the beautiful book, The Tao of Poe and the Tay of Piglet, to know the way, we go the way, we do the way we do, the things we do, it's all there in front of you. But if you try too hard to see it, you'll only become confused. I am me and you are you, as you can see, but when you do the things that you can do, you will find the way, and the way will follow you. So just slowly, if you're in your bridge pose or your plow pose, supporting the back to come down, removing any blocks and bolsters from underneath you. And if you've been in your plow pose, you might want to take a little fish pose, so hand underneath the lower back and the hips and coming into that little extension. And if you've been in extension in your bridge pose, then just rolling and hugging knees into chest or dropping feet wide and finding some nice windscreen wiper movements with the knees here. So if you're taking the windscreen wipers, this is actually good to do after plow pose or waterfall as well, just to allow the spine to unwind. And we can rock the head in the opposite direction to our knees, and we can move slowly here, or we can move a little bit faster, just feeling into the body what it would like. And then just gently starting to draw the knees wide of the hips, give them a hug, but wide open over the hips. Maybe coming to happy baby, grabbing out sides of the feet, dropping the knees a little bit wide. You can rock here side to side. And we're going to just take one more posture for just 1 minute. So your options here, I'm going to give you two options again. So rocking yourself up gently and slowly onto your seat bones and rolling forward. So if you'd like a little baby inversion without going anywhere, we can just bring elbows to the floor, just check they're not too wide, interlace the fingers and just pop the head into that cradle of your hands. Knees underneath hips, and we can stay here, we're just here for a minute. So if you'd like all the beautiful, lovely blood flow to the head, that is option number one. If you would prefer to take a little stretch through the hamstrings, we're going to come to our forward fold for a minute. So legs can be wide, not like we do when we practice in our yang, where our feet together, legs can be a little bit wide, and then just relax the feet. Lift from the hips, tip forward, and if you have got a bolster, a pillow, block, anything you'd like to rest on, you can use any little props around the home here as well. So maybe if you've got a block, you can use that to rest the head, or you can have a pillow or use a bolster. But making sure we've folded from the hips first, and then we can find a space to rest the head and round the upper back. So again, just finding into that breath. In whichever posture we're in, our little baby inversion or our forward fold. And just noticing our face here. Have we got a furrowed brow? Do we feel tension in the eyes or mouth? Is our jaw tight? Can we let that go? So maybe wriggling jaw side to side. Maybe having a big yawn and exhaling, letting it all go. Just softening every part of the face. Eyebrows, eyes might be gently closed or softly open, but no tension. Find absolutely full surrender, full relaxation. In through the nose, out through the mouth. Maybe sighing with those exhales. Maybe taking some source breaths, breathing in and out through open mouth, so jaw is relaxed, tongue away from roof of the mouth. Drawing big deep breaths in through the mouth and out through the mouth. Surrendering and letting go. Maybe you can deepen your fold if you're in your fold, just that little bit lower for the last
10 seconds. And very slowly, if you're folded, start to lift up. If you're in your little inversion, just drop into child's pose for a moment. If you're folded forwards, just bring those knees in carefully and roll yourself onto your back. If you do want to grab any warm bits of clothing now, might be good to grab any jumpers, any socks or slippers. I've still got my slippers. I'm going to put them on. So working your way onto your backs, hugging your knees in as you get there, giving them a big squeeze into the chest, and see if you can even wrap both arms around the shins. Even clasping elbows, real tight hug into a ball. Then start to drop the knees wide, bring those hands to the outside again, a little happy baby. Maybe you hold this, maybe you take a little stretch side to side. Just finding any final movements before we come to Shavasana. And just taking anything you'd like to before we come into that beautiful starfish shape. So finding your way into Shavasana when you're ready. And when you get there, just finding some beautiful deep belly breaths in through the nose, exhaling, letting go. Inhaling, filling up. Exhale, let it all go. And just for these last few moments of stillness, just focusing in on surrendering. Letting go. So just gently starting to bring your awareness back to any sounds closer to you. Maybe wriggling toes, wriggling fingers. Maybe finding a big stretch overhead or hugging the knees into the chest. And then hugging the knees in, rolling onto the right hand side, just taking a moment, curled in a ball. Thanking yourself for taking the time out to practice, finding some stillness, some calm, some surrender, sending love and letting go.
Working your way up to a seated position. When you're ready to come up, we'll just finish with a couple of breaths together, finding a big deep inhale, filling up the belly. Big exhale with a sigh, letting go. Inhaling deeply. Exhaling, letting go. Inhale, reaching the arms up, taking a big stretch overhead, drawing in all that energy down through the heart center. Letting go on the exhale. Namaste. Thank you so much. I will stop